There is an object in your home right now that does not belong to you. Not truly. You received it with a smile. You said thank you, and you found a place for it on a shelf or a wall or a table, and there it has sat, year after year, while something in you has never fully settled in that room. Before we go any further, I want you to stop whatever else your mind is carrying right now and take one slow, deliberate breath. Because what I am about to share with you is something most people spend decades feeling, but never hearing named. You have been faithful. You have prayed. You have shown up for God, even in the seasons when God felt silent. And yet something in your home, in the very space where you eat, where you rest, where you speak your prayers, carries a weight you did not choose and were never warned about. If you have ever walked into a room in your own house and felt, for no reason you could explain, that the air was heavier than it should be, stay with me, because that feeling was not your imagination. Before we go further, tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Your city, your state, your corner of this country or this world, because when you write it, you are declaring, I am here, I am awake, and I am ready. And if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, do it now, not as a favor to me, but as a promise to yourself that you are committed to the clarity and the protection of your own life. Now, go to the comments and write the words, I discern. 2 words, that is all. Because what you are about to receive is not information, it is permission. And the moment you write those words, you are telling heaven, I am no longer spiritually passive about what lives inside my home. Quantum physics has confirmed what spiritual traditions have known for centuries. Matter retains information. Every object in your home is not simply wood or fabric or glass. It is a slow, silent broadcast, emitting the frequency of where it came from, who touched it, and above all, what emotion was present when it was given to you. A gift offered in genuine love carries that love into your space, but a gift offered out of obligation, out of hidden resentment, out of a heart quietly rooting against you, carries that instead, and your nervous system receives it the way a radio receives a signal, not with conscious awareness, but with an unmistakable response. Neuroscience has a name for what happens next: context-dependent memory. Every time your eyes land on an object tied to a painful or spiritually corrupted relationship, your brain re-enters the emotional state of that relationship, briefly, silently, repeatedly, like a wound that never fully closes because the instrument that caused it is still sitting on your bookshelf. Most of the people you know who have been praying faithfully for years, giving, serving, showing up, and still feeling like their blessings stop just short of their door, are living with anchors they have never been given permission to name. What I am about to show you is exactly why. Do not touch that screen. There is a way through this, and it is simpler than you have been led to believe, though it will require something most people are never willing to offer: honesty about what they have been holding and why. What I am going to walk you through are 5 revelations, delivered in order, because each one prepares the ground for the next. And by the time we reach the last one, you will not only understand what has been happening in your home, you will know exactly what to do about it, room by room, object by object, with the full spiritual authority that belongs to you as the keeper of your own sacred space. Every object you own carries the imprint of the hands that gave it. And before you dismiss that as metaphor, consider that the Institute of Noetic Sciences, along with researchers in the field of psychometry, have documented that objects absorb emotional residue from the people who handle them with intensity, and that this is consistent with the most basic principle of physics. Energy is not created or destroyed, it transfers. In Hebrew scripture, in African diaspora traditions, in Native American medicine, in feng shui, in folk Catholicism, across every continent and every century, the understanding that objects hold spiritual charge is not a footnote, it is a foundation. So walk through your home right now in your mind, or physically if you are watching this on your phone, and identify 3 objects you received as gifts that you never chose, that you keep not because they bring you joy, but because removing them would feel like an offense. Just identify them, hold them in your mind, because those are the candidates, and discernment begins with the courage to look. Now, I want to tell you about a woman I know. Her name is Doña Clara. She was 63 years old, widowed, and deeply faithful. And after her husband passed, her sister-in-law, a woman who had never hidden her coldness, who had spent years competing quietly for her husband's attention, arrived at her door with a gift, a beautiful hand-woven rug. Refusing it in a moment of grief felt impossible, so Doña Clara accepted it, prayed over it, thanked God for the provision, and placed it in her living room. From that month forward, sleep became elusive. Her children visited less. A business she had been building with her son stalled without explanation. And every morning she walked past that rug, she felt something she could only describe as the opposite of welcome in her own home. Until a woman from her church stopped at the threshold of the living room one afternoon, looked at the rug, and asked quietly, "Doña Clara, who gave you that?" The rug was removed the following Saturday, wrapped in newspaper, prayed over, and released. And 6 months later, Doña Clara told her pastor, "I don't know how to explain what changed, but the room breathes now, and so do I." Before this video ends, I am going to tell you about one specific type of gift that spiritual leaders across centuries have identified as the most dangerous object you can keep in your home. And I promise you, when I name it, you will immediately think of something you own. But first, understand this: the objects most spiritually corrosive are not always the ones from strangers. They are most often the ones from people whose relationship with you broke, corroded, or was never what it appeared to be. An ex-partner, an estranged family member, someone who gave you a peace offering that was never genuine, someone whose death was surrounded by unresolved conflict. Your brain, by design, re-enters the emotional state of a relationship every time it encounters an object from that relationship. Not dramatically, not consciously, but reliably, like a song that pulls you back to a place you thought you had left. You cannot heal completely while the anchors remain. It is like running a ship's engine at full power with the anchor still dropped. The sails fill, the prayers go up, and the vessel does not move. Now here's what most teachings on this subject never tell you, and it is the part that changes everything. The problem is not only what the object carries. The problem is what your keeping it says to heaven about the authority you exercise over your own home. In Proverbs we are warned, "Do not eat the bread of a miser, for as he thinks in his heart, so is he." The gift from someone whose heart is not aligned with your flourishing carries the nature of that heart. And this is not superstition. This is scripture. When a person who harbors envy toward you brings a gift into your space, that gift functions as a territorial marker, a drop of bitter water placed quietly in your well, undetectable in a single sip, but present in every one, slowly altering the quality of everything that flows through your home. Think of someone in your life who consistently minimizes what you have built, who visits and leaves you feeling inexplicably drained, who gave lavishly at a moment when their own circumstances could not logically support such generosity. Whatever they placed in your home deserves your full discernment, not your guilt. If this teaching is reaching something real in you today, if you can feel that something is shifting just from hearing it, honor that. Make sure you are subscribed. Leave your like on this video. Ring that bell, not as a favor to this channel, but as a signal to yourself that you take seriously the protection of what God has placed in your care. People who honor knowledge receive more of it. The release of these objects is not a casual act. It is a spiritual protocol, and it has 3 steps. First, hold the object in both hands and speak aloud. I release the weight this carries. I return this energy to its origin. My home belongs to God. Second, choose your method of release. For objects of low charge, donation is acceptable. But for objects from deeply toxic relationships or relationships involving manipulation or spiritual harm, disposal outside the home is what is called for. Wrapped in plain paper, placed in an outdoor receptacle, and not passed to another person. Third, fill the space intentionally. A candle lit with prayer, a fresh plant, a verse of scripture placed where the object stood, because an empty space is an invitation, and you want to choose what accepts it. I want you to do something right now, wherever you are watching this. Think of one specific object in your home that you have kept out of obligation, not love. Just one. Hold it in your mind, because what comes next is exactly for that object and for the freedom waiting on the other side of releasing it. Environmental psychology has measured what happens when a space is cleared of emotional clutter. Cortisol drops. The prefrontal cortex, the seat of sound judgment, of creativity, of faith in action, regains its capacity to function fully. And Proverbs 24 confirms what the laboratory is only now beginning to quantify. By wisdom a house is built, and through understanding it is established. Through knowledge its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. The home filled through knowledge, through discernment, is not filled arbitrarily. And when you clear what does not belong, you are not creating an absence. You are creating a prepared place. Scripture is full of prepared places. The upper room, the manger, the ark. God fills prepared places. He does not compete with what already occupies the space. After you have released what must be released, walk through your home slowly, room by room, and speak over each one. This room belongs to God. Only what He ordains will enter and remain here. Right now, as you are hearing this, someone you love is living in a home full of anchors they do not know how to name, praying faithfully and wondering why the answer feels distant. You were led to this video today. Maybe it was not only for you. Send it to them, not with an explanation, just send it. Bringing someone else toward the light is one of the most sacred acts a human being can perform. Here's what I need you to hear clearly, because this is the place where most people stop short of the full freedom available to them. Releasing these objects is not the mistake. The mistake is releasing them without replacing the posture that allowed them to accumulate. If you clear your home today and return tomorrow to the same habit of accepting without discernment, of keeping out of guilt, of prioritizing someone else's comfort over the sanctity of your own space, the anchors will return, because the door that let them in was never the object itself. It was the belief that your spiritual sensitivity was less important than someone else's feelings. Your home is not a courtesy. It is a covenant space, and you are its appointed keeper. And no gift, however beautiful, however expensive, however offered with a smile, has the right to occupy ground that belongs to God without passing through the filter of your discernment first. You came to this video carrying a weight you could feel but could not name. and that is no longer true. You now possess something that most people spend a lifetime without: the spiritual language, the practical tools, and the divine permission to govern what lives inside your home with full authority and zero guilt. You are not superstitious for feeling what you have felt. You are not ungrateful for releasing what does not belong. You are a steward, and a steward who finally understands the assignment is the most dangerous thing the enemy of your peace has ever had to face. Think right now of one person in your life who has been praying, serving, giving, and still living under a heaviness they cannot explain. Send them this video. Not with a lecture, not with a warning. Just send it, quietly, as someone who knows what it means to finally hear the thing you needed to hear. Be the messenger that brings this light to someone who is still in the dark. That is not a small act. That is one of the most sacred things one human being can do for another. Your home is not a museum of other people's intentions. It is a living altar, and you are its keeper. And beginning today, beginning right now, you have everything you need to steward it with wisdom. Before you close this video, I want you to go to the comments and write these words. Copy them exactly. Let them be your declaration. My home is a sacred sanctuary. I release what does not belong and receive what God has ordained for me. It is done. When you write that, you are not leaving a comment. You are signing a covenant. You are joining hundreds of voices who are making this declaration at this very moment. And that community of intention is itself a form of prayer. What you release in faith, God will replace with purpose. Go, make the space ready.